Hey friend, Sean from Draft Therapy here, and on today's review for you, did you let the dogs out again? The Dogman Ale is an 8.3% Scotch Ale from Beards Brewery in Petoskey, Michigan. Aw dang, a Scotch Ale. I don't drink nearly enough Scotch Ales. It's kind of like Black IPAs. And I don't feel like there are too many places doing really great ones. Now, I've heard that I've got to try Old Chub from Oscar Blues. A few people have said that. But when I learned that Beards was re-releasing this beer, it was one I looked forward to, as I do with most Scotch Ales. I like a good Scotch Ale because you get all those meaty, roasty, just big, spicy flavors. Really, what's not to love? This is also my second ever beer from Beards Brewery on the channel. The first one was last summer's Copperstar Galactica, and since I had that beer, I've been looking for an excuse to bring another one of Beards' beers to the channel. You know, they have kind of the regular ones, but they don't get too many that come down here that aren't like, oh, the Citranity. This is a seasonal one, so let's take a look at the label. We'll get it into a glass. Fun fact, the Dogman is a werewolf-like creature. It's known to inhabit the woods of the northern Lower Peninsula, right around where Petoskey is. So let's take a look at the label. This is a Beards Brewery beer. It says right here on the front, it's got this Dogman. I was going to say Wolfman, but it's a Dogman. I mean, this is called the Dogman, and it says it's a seasonal release right here on the can. It says malty, warming, scary. It's 12 fluid ounces. And then on the side here, it says, passionate about craft, visit our pub in Petoskey, Michigan. The Dogman Scotch Ale. All heed the hellacious snarl of the malevolent beast. Beware the Dogman as he prowls the woodline, where ye dare not go. Better to take shelter in the cabin with this fear-quenching ale. Deep ruby in color, warming but smooth, sweet and caramelly with a touch of smoke. Pairs well with late-season camping, cold nights by the fire, and braised venison shanks. Also a superb braising liquid, carefully crafted by Beards Brewery LLC in Charlevoix, Michigan. And you can find out more about them at beardsbrewery.com. And of course, the government warning. This has no canned on date. There is no dating on this can whatsoever. Now, I'm not afraid of this not being, in season or not being something with it, but because it's a Scotch Ale, this will probably last pretty long. I would say 6 months at the very least. Probably more like a year. You'd probably be pretty good to last for a year. It's in a can. No lights getting into it. No oxygen should be getting into it. It's going to be good for a whole lot of time. So let's go ahead and I'm going to grab a snifter glass here. I got my little selection of glasses over here. Got the snifter, the large snifter. Let's go ahead and just crack this open. Yeah, I wish that there was dating on here, but there's not. I picked this up at 8 Degrees Plato in Detroit a couple weeks back, and I hadn't seen it anywhere on shelves, so I'm pretty sure that it's somewhat fresh. I know it says late season camping. It's a little, this might be more like early season camping, but let's go ahead and pour this. Yeah, it's coming out really caramel in color, kind of a light brown. You can definitely see through the stream here on the pour. I didn't even smell the can. Can you believe it? I got too wrapped up wanting to have a Scotch Ale. But yeah, so it's got about a finger's worth of head. Not a whole lot of head to speak of. It's just a little bit off-white, a little bit darker white, maybe borderline brown. I think a lot of that is kind of the color that's coming up through the glass, as you can see from the overhead. Oh, I'm smelling like this caramel kind of smell. Actually, it's kind of wafting up into my nostrils. So yeah, let's go ahead and hold this up to the light. It's fairly thick. It's not super opaque. Like I can see my fingers through it, not detail, more like shadow, but it's not clear by any means. But yeah, it's got a nice bit of head to it. It has a really nice kind of borderline dark caramel colored brown. Like if you just poured caramel from you heated some sugar up, made some caramel, poured it, it would look just like caramel. I mean, that's what it looks like. And as you can see now, there is no head, just a little bit of a head around the edge of the glass here. Let's put a nose on it. Yeah, getting a nice smoky characteristic out of this. A little bit of a caramel on the back end of the aroma. Yeah, nice roasted malt smells in there, though. It smells damn good, so let's go ahead and try it out. Cheers. Got a nice spicy note right up front, right in the forefront. Really nice spicy characteristic. And what I mean by spicy is it's kind of got like a Scotch ale spicy. Like when you have a Scotch, there's a spiciness to it. It's almost like a nutty kind of character, almost maybe borderline. I could almost say nutmeg, but it's got like a nutty character to it. Let's take another drink here. Yeah. It's got a nutty character to it on the up front. It's got a little bit of a sweetness to it that kind of comes up as you swallow, as you taste it. I'm looking for an ABV. I know I said it earlier. I want to say this was 8.3%. Don't call me out if I'm wrong, because there's not on the can here. Please, Beards, start putting the ABV on the can. I don't see it on here at all. But it's got a nice kind of nutty characteristic. That kind of, the sweetness kind of comes up. There's like a caramel kind of sweetness that comes up. And then on the aftertaste, I had it right on the tip of my tongue, and then I kept talking and I forgot what I was getting. Oh, it's like a smoky characteristic on the tail end. There's this smokiness, that caramel kind of sweetness that comes up. This smoky kind of roasty, malty characteristic comes up, and it just kind of bubbles up through that sweetness. But yeah, it's a really nice package. Like I said, that nuttiness gives way to that sweetness, that caramel kind of sweetness. Gives way to those roasty, smoky, malty flavors. And the thing is that, and then I'm almost tasting now that on the last drink that I got is I'm like, oh yeah, it's smoky on the tail, and that's pretty much the finish. Then there's almost this really slight boozy quality to it. Like I said, I think it's around 8%-ish right there. You know, I'll probably put some little marker right up here that says this is the ABV. But, you know, it has that kind of comes in a little bit on the tail end, and it has almost this really very subtle boozy characteristic to it that I don't think you'd really pick up unless you were really just kind of analyzing and thinking about it. It's a very dangerous Scotch ale. I don't think of Scotch ales generally as being something that you would, you know, just continually drink and drink and drink. I think Scotch ales to me are more of sippers. The thing with this, the mouthfeel is just, and I didn't mention mouthfeel, but now I'm remembering, I didn't smell out of the can. I didn't mention mouthfeel. It's got a nice mouthfeel. It's almost borderline creamy. It's like almost light and creamy. It's not super thick by any means. It just tastes like it is almost on the light end, but it's creamy. It's got this fluffy kind of characteristic to it. And I dig it. It's different than Scotch ales that I generally have. When I generally have a Scotch ale, I think of something like a Backwoods Bastard. I know that's a barrel-aged beer. This doesn't have, obviously, any barrel characteristics, any kind of bourbon characteristics, or any barrel-aged characteristics to it. It just tastes like a step-back version of that, and that's perfectly fine. Like, I could probably drink one or two of these, and I'd feel okay about it. I wouldn't feel like, if I drank, you know, 2 Backwoods Bastards, I'm good. But this is, you know, this is something you could drink a couple of. It's not as in-your-face, like high, just intensity like a Backwoods Bastard, and that's like the last Scotch ale I can remember really, you know, obviously you drink a Backwoods Bastard, and almost universally it's well liked. But I think this one is a good kind of step down from that. It's not so intense. It's a little bit more of a laid back kind of beer, and it has all that kind of feeling to it as well. So I think if you're looking for a Scotch ale, and I know they're few and far between, this one's a really nice one. And now that I'm let that aftertaste kind of sit for a little bit longer, I almost pick up on another wave of this vanilla kind of sweetness that's coming through. It's kind of just sitting there, like it's like almost like a vanilla sugary kind of sweetness, like a powdered sugar kind of sweetness that comes through on the very end. So it's like a little surprise for your mouth that just kind of hits you on the tail end. But this is another really good offering from Beards. And like I said, I liked Copperstar Galactica quite a bit, and I really am enjoying Dogman from Beards Brewery in Petoskey. All right, friends, that has been Dogman Ale from Beards Brewery in Petoskey. If you go to the tap room, mention you saw their beer right here and share it on social media. Have you had this beer from Beards? Do you have a favorite Scotch ale? Or is there any other beer you think I should try? Let me know in the comments down below. While you're down there, if you like beer, you might want to subscribe and click that bell, because I'm here talking about beer twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's all for free. You don't have to pay anything. It's all for free for viewers just like you, and you might miss your newest favorite if you're not subscribed and getting those notifications. So until next time, I'm Sean from Draft Therapy. Thanks for stopping by, and remember, drink craft beer, support your local breweries wherever they are, and most importantly, the utmost importance, don't forget to treat yourself to a little draft therapy. Thanks for watching. Cheers.